limón, agua, maíz, limón, lemon water. With I don't have enough. I've been out. It's thick out here. You know, it happened summer. It was winter less than a week ago. I don't know. You know, so I'm going to share a little bit about Ouroboros protocol. Looking under the hood a little bit from the perspective of an investor, right, and a user of the protocol and part of the DAO. I'm real. I'm not showing my eyes. I know that everyone wants to read my eyes because I want to, right? I'm real, but it's the one boundary, right? Particularly when there's all this technology that's reading voices and reading places and reading sensors and reading the eyes, right? So Ouroboros protocol is an emerging monster. I like to call it now my cosmic banking on the blockchain app, decentralized app platform. Cosmic, just because it feels that way to me. Banking, because I get to interact with smart contracts in the prototypical first product, borrowing and lending protocol. The prototypical assets were Titanx and still are Titanx and DragonX, and can put them into the platform and borrow against them, right? And it's even in the initial form, it's beautiful. Ouroboros is beautiful, cyan, and it's going to be even more beautiful in its next incarnation. So cosmic banking, because it's me interacting self-custody through my wallet with the D app. I'm borrowing against it, and I'm using the collateral, the Titanx or the DragonX, to borrow against it. Some people don't like that, so I would say you don't have to use that part of the protocol. You can just, for example, I'll reveal another. It's not a secret, but it is an amazing play right now because it's a stable coin. It's stable yield, and for someone like me that believes in the long-term value of the ORX fee-sharing token, I'm looking for every opportunity to use what I have to get more ORX. So last October through January, I used my Titanx to get vesting ORX, right? And so I'm part of the vesting crew that put Ethereum, or I didn't put Ethereum, I put Titanx in, and I'm still vesting it. I'll start my full mature vests. My vests will mature starting in October when I 365 days. So one part of the protocol is this borrowing against a collateral asset. The first two assets were incubated on Titanx. Thank you, Titanx. Thank you, DragonX. Titanx and DragonX are the clients for Ouroboros, right? So we got to show due respect, right? To uplift the health and well-being of the Ouroboros protocol, we want Titanx and DragonX to thrive. And so anyone that wants to use a collateral asset can borrow against it and create USDX, which is the native stable coin that we can only mint or mine or create, actually. I think it's a minting process, but I don't know. I'll have to ask Dev, Super Shadowy, if it's actually minting or if it's something else that we're doing when we're creating the USDX from the protocol. And when we borrow USDX, there's a fee for the borrowing service, and that fee is distributed in different ways. And so Ouroboros Revealed is a fee sharing token, ORX, and a fee sharing platform. Probably more, I would say, holistically fee sharing than any other platform or application I've ever seen. That's like a huge breakthrough for Ouroboros. And that's all about, first, the developer is an inventor, a creator, an entrepreneur, a master of many things. And, and so Shadowy, Super Shadowy, created with principles a fee sharing platform, a fee sharing protocol, a fee sharing asset, ORX. And so as Ouroboros grows as a platform and has increasing products and services available to investors, but also users, right? Investors are one thing and then users are another thing, right? So I'm an investor and a holder, and I'm going to be a staker and a locker of ORX. And so the existing version 1 really of the Ouroboros platform has the ORX token. It's still in the distribution investing phase. It's cap supply maxed at 700 plus million, but it'll be a lot less because there are going to be a lot of people, in my humble opinion, who will early claim our vests in order to take advantage of the exponential gains that may very well be available in the coming bull cycle. It's not just Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's the altcoin market, and Ouroboros is one of the hot altcoins, in my humble opinion. One of the best, if not the best, first cycle DeFi platform, protocol, and fee sharing token. So version 1 has ORX and then USDX, which is the native stablecoin. And I can't reveal too much about what's next. I can only reveal what I know to be true, which is being part of the Telegram. It's really what most anyone could know if I pay attention to the Telegram, because Shadowy, the dev, is always in there asking questions, clarifying. And so I don't like to share too much except for what's actually on the app and also what Shadowy has documented as educational materials. And so once the next product gets released, the only thing I can share is what I know is that it's called a staking module, right? A universal staking module. And I haven't seen it, I haven't interacted with it as a product. I just know it's coming. And I'm really looking forward to it. And Shadowy's been sharing little bits and pieces, and all of us in that Telegram, in the community, in the DAO. The DAO, currently the governance, that's the other thing. It's the initial part of the prototype of Ouroboros version 1. The Tao is like what I've heard Shadowy call it. What did he call it? A sentiment gauge, right? Which is really important early stage, like getting vesting. So it's right now people can vote in the Tao, like I voted on a few different things. Those of us who have vesting ORX because we've made a commitment, we put our Titan X or Ethereum, we've got vesting. Oh no, that's drip. It's really, I think, for Titan X in. It's Titan X vestors that can vote. Eventually, once we're done with that, I think the governance will extend into the next level, into on-chain governance, and we'll innovate on whatever is the best practice. The DAO will figure out with dev DAO interaction. Will figure out like what's the best governance structure on chain to promote security and collaboration and optimization and all the good things that good governance can deliver, right? And in this case, in an on-chain variation, with humans supporting, but increasingly, this is a decentralization effort, right? And so Ouroboros, it has huge decentralization characteristics. And when there is a need for centralized controls in the process of startup and building product market fit, and right, and so there's a process of going from centralized development from an idea. So in this case, one individual has an idea and then builds and eventually collaborates with the community, right? Which is what has been going on. I mean, I first found Ouroboros on Twitter, on X. I saw Shadowy posting, and I just like the name Ouroboros. I like the design. I like the colors, right? You know, snakes and like, you know, just like mythical beings and infinity loops. And also, I really love the voice of Ouroboros without even having to hear it through the written word, and then and then the code, and then working with the code and interacting with the code. I just honestly, I have fallen in love with this protocol and this app and the process of building it. And so I'm a huge, just a fan. And some of us this morning so there's like two things I'm going to be talking about, and they're so different in DeFi, but they both have multi-cycle. Actually, all three of them have multi-cycle potential, meaning that they will survive and thrive in the bear and the bull, right? Notice bear, bull, you know, they survive and thrive the volatility, and in some ways use the volatility with the wisdom of the creator and the top team, use the volatility and the very high risk startup and, you know, enterprise to ride the wave of exponential growth, right? And so that's Ouroboros. And connected to Ouroboros is Titan X, and connected to Titan X is X28. So those three are all connected in my mind, right? Titan X is connected, you know, with Ouroboros. Ouroboros will deploy on other blockchains and will grow products, but it'll always be incubated from Titan X. And so that pair is amazing. The other is this whole idea of Titan X migration of value to Pulse Chain, right? I'm going to be educating about what I am doing to uplift, build on Titan X protocols, you know, through the bridge onto Pulse Chain. And later today, I'm going to be talking with my friend Maya, Holistic Maya. She's a newcomer to crypto, right? And so she and I are going to be in dialogue with GIF from Giffordware Tech. right? Who's also an inventor, a creator, a builder, like an all-in-one creator, inventor, dev, right? So where was I? Ouroboros. I got distracted by Eros. Eros is, on my mind always. Not just the token, but the carving, the totem, like the Eros totem and the heart of everything is just really big. So it's hard to, avoid it, which is why a lot of people, have this resistance. And so I'm like, surrender to Eros, baby, surrender. And that's where the whole humor of everything and the OnlyFans of everything and the Eros XXX. But I don't want to. Yeah. So let's go back to Ouroboros, and that's a yin yang, right? Eros and Ouroboros. It's a total so different, which is why I like it. I like both. And it's part of my whole. So anyone tries to attack, there's a yin and yang. You see, this is one of the Shaolin defenders, right? I have so many Shaolin defenders built into the totems. Speaking of which, shout out to the House of Warlords and any conflict or friction in there. Like, may it be like, as Trey says, water under the bridge. Come together for collective effort and well-being and protect the little ones, right? Okay, go back to Ouroboros. Right. So there's two ways. So the protocol is amazing. The platform's amazing. The products are expanding. The deployments are going to happen. And it's going to be an incredible ride, not only in this next bull cycle, which is coming. It's here. We're in the bull cycle. And, I believe, I could be wrong and hold me accountable if there is no exponential altcoin run, but I feel it brewing and I'm in position personally. And for newcomers, I'm going to be helping people to position self. One of the ways that I'm encouraging my family and friends to position for the coming bull run and the coming bear cycle, and then the next bull, and that, like, this hyper volatility is an ongoing process. Opposed, it just keeps on. Yes, there are macro bull and macro bear trends. We're in a macro bullish trend right now. I think near the end of this macro bullish, I don't know, 3, 6, 9, 12 months of macro bullish, and then the trend might turn, right? But for me, it's yes, take advantage of the volatility up and make sure I take profits on the way up. That's the killer learning. And particularly for multi-cycle blue chip potential assets like ORX, like Ouroboros, it's time in the market as opposed to timing the market. And so that means that's why I'm just letting go of, unless I need it for family or friend, right, or myself, like the asset. If I need to sell it, I'll sell anything, right? To take care of people, right? Not to buy. I don't need anything other than I could use. What could I use? I mean, there's always, especially, working the land, and like I could use actually here a new mallet. If anyone wants to donate, if I'm like adding value, I don't have a donation wallet. You can donate to Maya. I'll send out Maya's donation wallet. Maya is a worthwhile donation, not just because it's a gift, no questions asked, no conditions gift, but it's also sort of ionized contribution to Maya's learning and development. And so later, Maya and GIF and I will be on stream. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so I'm 20 minutes in. I'm trying to keep these things shorter, but I'm not done. Hmm. I don't know if you can hear, but the thunder's coming, right? This is one of the things about having my outdoor studio. I do have an indoor studio. It's an office studio, but I like to spend as much time as I can outdoors because then I can carve and make stone sculptures and do this kind of thing and also work, right? And so I like working outside. It's why in the winter, man, I'm all like bundled up and working, living outside as much as possible, at one with nature, right? Um, Show comments. I don't know if anybody is watching even. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not, I'm doing it to get practice. I'm practicing for what's next. Okay. I'm practicing first for newcomers to come into retail and say, hey, what do I do? I'm going to say the first thing to do is ORX is a potential blue chip first cycle. Like anywhere, depending on how you gauge, like market cap is anywhere from 1.5 million to like $10 million, depending on it's, actually a lot less than 10 million right now based on price. It's like 1.7 cents per ORX. And the market cap currently is like, I think there's 50 million liquid now, but here's my guess. And this is a guesstimate. Don't hold me accountable. It's a guess. I think there's going to end up being between 3 and 400 million ORX tokens. So let's say 350. It's my guess. It could be anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe 250, depending on how high we go now and how many people claim their ORX vesting tokens early, because those get put away. Now, it could be that those coins the Dow uses as some reward at some point. I don't know. Let's say there's anywhere between 3 and 500 million coins. Let's say, for my math right now, let's use 300 million coins. Times about 2 cents, right? That's a current fully diluted market cap, if that's what it is, of $6 million. I don't know what the total value locked is, but there's going to be a lot more total value locked in the next deployment. There are going to be numerous new assets as collateral. I don't know which ones. That's the great mystery. So Ouroboros is, in my opinion, based on the product market fit and the potential for scaling, it's hugely undervalued. It reminds me of early Aave. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it does. I can't help it. I saw early Aave. It was called ETH Lend. It was in 2019. It was 18 cents. I'll never forget it because I remember when I sold it 5 times at 5x. I was like, just under $1. I was like, it's gonna retrace at $1. It's gonna dump. Like I'm like getting out. I did keep a moon bag, not enough, right? Because what is it now? It's like 100. Last time I looked, $163, like 16,000x from time in the market, finding a low, like an early stage, very early gem, potential blue chip. It with great dev and team. Same thing with Aave. I saw the team right away. I was like, wow, great dev, great team, great vision, and great execution. I didn't know then what I know now. If I knew what I know now, I would have held more Aave. What's up, Punky? That's my pup. Come here, pup. That's my partner. Yeah, I've got a ORX vesting ORX for the dogs so that I can afford to feed the dogs. Right. I've got one like probably 1 billion Titan X put in on day one for canines. I also have one for my son, one for my parents, one for my brothers, for some friends, right? It's for me, it's the gift that will keep on giving. right? And so I want to be part of, we were talking earlier in our Telegram about the value of in crypto of transcending, especially in community projects and decentralized networks, getting beyond the PvP, the person v person attitude. And I'm gonna, that the only way to win is if I win and you lose, or you lose and I win, or like this win-loss thing. And yes, there is a thing in the market that it is very competitive. This isn't really talking about the trading game and like how that works. It's really talking about the network effect. And instead of selling and shilling, this idea of shilling is old. It's like an immature version of what's required, in my humble opinion. Because, in the time of AI, authenticity and realness and education and like onboarding that actually helps I to make a good decision, treated as if it's a family and friend, right? So around Ouroboros, and it's the same thing we're doing with Eros. This is what brings them together, is my participation. I'm probably the only one that likes those two projects. Maybe there's another one. There's a few people actually who are PTGC people that like Eros, because PTGC people understand Eros way better than Titanx people do. No disrespect to Titanx people. It's just PTGC understand the protocol and understand the value and understand the LP webs from a community perspective on Pulse Chain. Um, yeah, but the idea with Ouroboros, and we're gonna do it with Eros too. It's just different because that's a hardcore community initiative, like totally decentralized. Ouroboros is way more like that's a blue chip in its own way. I see it, but let's go there. This is a blue chip in like Aave. It's going to be a comprehensive all-in-one DeFi platform, Ouroboros will. And so the important thing is that Shadowy is going to document, this is what he's done, both on the app and in the documentation in clear written form. There's education program. And so for that, we're going to really figure out, how do we incentivize education? Like traditional influencers, like most people that know how the system works. I mean, unless an influencer said this is a paid ad, like influencers, like that's what, but even then, it's just so hard to, like, I don't care if influencers get paid, but like, like those are salespeople. It's not an it's a salesperson. Their job is to sell, right? Yeah, influence opinion, but a higher vibration, a higher integrity way in a decentralized network where we're trying to get over this PvP exclusive, attitude. Because when we're building a network, when we're building community ties and trust, what you want is you build around principles, and people are the things that are, we're the beings that practice the principles and practice what I preach, right? And so education, which is more about encouraging, is sharing what I've learned and encouraging each individual to do, not research, education. Like, do your own research isn't enough. Research is like step one. Education is a learning process. We've got to ingest and digest the research. We have to, experience the thing. We have to do it, because it's the experiential learning that works, especially for adults, man. Adult learning, man. Adults, we learn by doing. Actually, kids and teens learn by doing too. Everyone learns by doing. Study is like, yeah, but like we, I study by listening. I study by interacting. And so the point is that I'm increasingly looking for learning communities where people are willing to share good information on good education. And there's no targeting of other people. There's just not. There's no allegations because everyone knows it's like everyone is responsible 100% for my own bags. And maybe there's a collective effort to share good information, help people, help the individual, and even the protocol to make good decisions. For example, how do I deploy capital on ORX? I would never tell anybody, other than there's one thing I would tell people to do on ORX. If I like and want to vest ORX, if I'm willing to be patient to vest it, or take the risk of it's going to go way up and I can early claim, then I would say buy USDX with USDC. It's a stable coin, and stake it in the backstop pool. And in that, you can get over 100% returns annually. I don't know what it is. It fluctuates, and if the pool participation goes up, the return on investment goes down. But what it is we're using a stable coin to put it in the backstop pool, which provides safety and security for the whole protocol. It's part of the liquidation and protocol health. It's like what happens under the hood in the code that Shadowy has built and that we all interact with, thankfully and gratefully. And the beauty of that is I have a stable coin, and this is what I'm telling to newcomers. Stable coin, buy USDX, stake on the platform, farm ORX token, liquid gold. When we actually claim it, if you can wait $100 in stable coins, this is what I'm telling, just put it in, right? 1,000, put it in and farm ORX token and be patient. Even if you're getting it in 2026 and you're like, oh, it's going to be the bear market. Okay, maybe. I have no idea. What I do know is that long term, this is like only for long term believers in the ORX platform, the Ouroboros platform, and people who are willing to use a stable coin and generate yield with it in like this crazy valuable. It's going to be a very scarce asset, in my humble opinion. Assuming there's always risk, right? Assuming we continue to grow and educate and get educated and assist newcomers to figure out how to participate in the cosmic banking on the blockchain platform, Ouroboros. What do you think, Hunka? Time to go. All right, 34 minutes. That's good. I wish I could. I think there's probably comments, but I can't see if anybody is. I see that there are people watching, probably on X. I don't think I can see. I'm streaming using StreamYard and doing it to. This is like an experiment. It is an experiment, and I'm trying to see if I can read comments from X, and I can't. I think probably only reading comments on YouTube. That's all good. Anything else? This evening, I guess I'm a streamer, at least for this next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. I'm going to be consistent streaming. And once I choose my horses, that's just me, man. I ride in I ride and die with my horses or my dogs or my alphas, right? And so Ouroboros, I'm like riding and dying with Ouroboros. And connected to that is riding and dying with Titanx. And I'll include, quiet shout outs to Titanx, build on Titanx. I don't want to distinguish them, but there's a few that I like. One that's really growing on me is Morpheus, partially because I see it connected. Somehow I don't fully understand. I don't see it with the Switch platform, Switch decks. I like Switch decks. I think it's cool. I think it's got scaling potential. So I always like finding like early stage blue chips that can really scale users, and I also like, I don't know enough yet about Morph and Switch and if it can be a fee sharing platform, but if it could, that would really be great. Mm. And then I just want to say later, Maya is, I know I said this, but she's really holistic Maya. She's one of my Twitter friends, right? Who now is becoming I helped to bring her on chain, right? And the first, I sent her a hybrid NFT, an Ascendant hybrid NFT. Props to the Ascendant team. I mean, that was mine. I bought it, but thank you for creating it. I sent it to Maya, and I'm rooting for the Ascend token. And I'm looking for, I don't know what I'm looking for there, but it needs life. I also, Maya got a gift from Double Down, who's in the Ouroboros community, gifted Maya. The first time I streamed with Maya was her birthday, and Double Down, thank you, sir, gave Maya a very generous gift, right? And Ouroboros is going to be the gift that keeps on giving for Maya, too. And tonight, me and Giff and Maya are going to talk about Giff's tech, Gifford Ware tech. Giff has a lot of tech, and I don't really know exactly what he's been doing, but he's in this extended Eros on Pulse Chain workhorse crew. And we're going to be dialogue about technology and Gifford Ware tech. We're going to be talking about Eros and even Eros X. And as part of that, I'm going to be gifting Maya some Eros. Maybe even an Eros Lotus NFT, for example. That would be sweet, right? Lotus flower and Eros, and I have but that's going to require that Maya, and so first tonight, we're going to be talking with Giff at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, first Maya, we've gotten Maya onto Ethereum, and I sent her some Ethereum for gas, and I sent her an Ascendant NFT, a hybrid NFT, and now next, after this conversation with Giff, who's going to explain the technology of the bridge and all the under the hood technological innovations, not just that he's been working on, but that like the space is focused on. And then we'll get Maya onto Pulse Chain, which is where I can send the Zara NFT bling, right? Which is like the Eros Lotus pair, the Eros Eden pair, the Eden Lotus pair, the Lotus Titan X pair, right? It's the whole Zara on Pulse Chain universe, right? So there's that. Peace out, y'all.